Hey everybody, welcome back to the JK Experience. It is good to be back in the studio, man. It has been a while there, my man.
Good day, sir. Yes, it is. It feels like we've been laid off forever.
Yeah.
So, but it hadn't been that long. Just been a few days, maybe a week or so.
Yeah, a couple of days, but we're usually in here all the time. So, which is, we love it. It's fun. I mean, I love being in here and what we talk about. And, but we've just been busy. It's been that time of the year, right? Mm-hmm. And we knew going into this that this time of the year gets just really busy. I'm sure that you're listening, you've probably had enough Christmas parties already. You've had enough events already, but we still haven't even made it through most of December, and there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, we are on our way. This is going to be a informational packed podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, man. Once again, I love this time of the year. I love having the conversations about how the year went. I love having the conversations about where you want to improve yourself for next year. And it's just an awesome opportunity to really sit back and enjoy really the fruits of your labor. And of course, obviously there's goals that you probably didn't accomplish. We had goals that we did not accomplish. And it's awesome to be able to go back and say, and identify, this is the thing that we fell short on. If it's truly something that's important, we need to figure out how to overcome that again.
Yeah, now is a great time of year to be introspective and look at where you did come up a little bit short. And I mean, it's not meant to beat yourself up, right? We're not trying to beat ourselves down, because this is a difficult time of year anyway. I mean, we're winding down and we're like, oh man, I wish I would have done this, wish I would have done that. But so don't beat yourself up over it. But you've got to realize where you came up short, and more importantly, why.
Right.
So you got to be asking that why.
Yeah, and I think that, so today we want to talk about this dreaded word of business planning. And, listen, if you just take out the word business, it's literally planning for 2020, right? Yep. And a lot of people just won't take the time to do that. They won't sit down and say, all right, what do I really want to accomplish next year? Because it's very daunting. It's very intimidating to them, because maybe they're just not good with numbers. Maybe they don't have enough information, and they don't feel like they can get the past history of how the year went. And I'll tell you, it is so important, man. It is vital if you want to accomplish some great things in your life.
Yeah, the old saying is failing to plan is planning to fail. Right. And this is so true in this aspect, because you better have a plan on what's going to happen as soon as now I've got to give kudos. I don't know who brought this concept to us, but rather than starting January 1, why not start December 1? Right. So if we're already on it in our organizations, we've already begun to plan this, because we feel like we need that momentum prior to January 1. Yeah,
exactly. Well, that was at our leadership retreat, and that's when Todd was talking to us about some goals that he knew that we wanted to accomplish, and then also what they do and here's the great thing is this is why you have mentors. This is why you have people. This is why you surround yourself with great people in your life, is because there's always something that they're doing that's probably improving their life, that if you pick it up and if you use it, it's going to help improve your life too.
Yeah, you got it. And so, yeah, kudos to Todd for that, because it's something that I never, realized. I mean, we all go, all right, January 1 is the start date, December 31st is the end date. Yeah. It doesn't have to be.
Right, exactly. And I think it is important, enjoy the moment, enjoy this season, enjoy this time of the year. But once again, get yourself excited and start implementing the things that are going to help you have a great next year, whatever year that is. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about this. Obviously, one aspect of planning, business planning, is knowing your numbers and how important that is, right? If you had goals that you wanted to achieve this year, if you don't know what those numbers were, if you don't know how you got there, there's no way that you can improve on them, or there's no way that you can avoid some of the mistakes that you had felt this last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you're, if in hindsight, if you're looking at those numbers and because it's probably become really apparent whether you set your goal way, way too high or whether you set your goal too low. Right. And we see that on both sides, right? People who have come in and just crushed it, or people who came up a lot short. Right. But at the end of the day, we know we can just about point to the reasons why it was one way or the other.
Right. And once again, we have multiple companies that we're talking about within our umbrella, and we have to have goals. We have to know our numbers. We have to know exactly how we did and why we didn't do as good as we thought we were going to do. Or we have to know, hey, we believe blew that up, and that was fantastic. Had an amazing year. Why did we do it? How did we do that? Because we want to duplicate that and we want to grow on that.
Yeah, and I want to stress this as well. Goal setting is not what they call swag. Right, swag is a scientific wild ass guess.
Okay,
and and I apologize, but it's called swag, and
really?
So it's not swag. You have to have a plan to get there.
Yeah.
Right. Like I could tell you, hey Josh, my goal for next year, make $3 million.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, great, James. How?
Yeah. Show me the roadmap.
I don't know, man. I just want to make $3 million.
Right.
Watch me. So it's not. It's there has to be a plan to get there. Right. You cannot just set this crazy goal and just hope to get there. You have to have a plan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what happens when you're not motivated, right? If you don't have a plan and that first that first bump in the road happens, or 3 months into the year and life starts to happen, like if you don't have a plan to know what you should be doing, you're not going to follow it, and you'll continue. You'll fail. You will fail.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen too. People start the year great guns. They get to about March, they're not seeing the success that they thought they were.
Yeah,
and they just start phoning it in, and the wheels fall off the wagon, and everything stops.
Yeah. So that's just one aspect of it, and I think that's the one thing that can get really intimidating about business planning is that it's the numbers game, and most people aren't numbers people, right? That's just not in their lane. I know it's for you, it's for me. Very few people like the numbers, and for those that do, awesome. Stay in your lane and continue to do that, because there's obviously other areas probably that you're not planning in your life either. So we want to talk about other aspects of your life that if you're not planning those out, or if you're not dreaming about and vision casting for those, there's no wonder that you're not achieving other greatness in your life. So we believe so strongly that there's business, there's health, and there's life, right? Business, health, vitality, life. And if you are not taking time to sit down and answer the questions about what you want to accomplish next year in your health and vitality, in your life, your personal life, the relationships you have, your spirituality, all of those aspects, you're going to be incomplete. Right. And if you focus on one of those areas too much, you're dropping the ball in the other areas of your life. And it's just, you will live an unfulfilled life. I promise you that. And time and time again, how many coaching sessions do we have with individuals that completely have that unbalanced?
You bet. So I'm going to say less than half of the coaching that I do is professional.
Right.
The majority of it is that spiritual part of it. It is the physical part of it and the relational part of it, right? Because people struggle they're here for maybe 8, maybe 10 hours, right? They're spending the rest of their life somewhere else, and they're dealing with these things. So yes, those are all very, very relevant.
Yeah. So as you're thinking about this, I really want you to dive deep into that. Like, what is it in your health and vitality that you want to be focused on, that you can accomplish, or that if you were disciplined in some actions, that would make for a great year for you, right? Because it's not just about the 1 year. It's also about, especially when it comes to your health and vitality, you are setting the table, the foundation for a great life and a great lifestyle. Okay. When it comes to your life, I don't know about you, but I have relationships that I need to continuously work on.
Yep.
And if we are not looking back, or if we're not stepping back from the busyness of life, we're gonna start to lose some of those relationships, or we're gonna lose years on those relationships, right? You've got children, I've got children, and when you don't intentionally spend that time and notice and understand that this is an important time in their life, you will lose those years very fast.
Yeah, in a blink, and it's fun for me because most of my children are teenagers. All of them are teenagers, and most of them are grown, right?
Yes.
Like 2 of them are out of the house. And I look at you with your young family, and I just every day when I see those little ones in the office, I just go, gosh, Josh, cherish this, man. Cherish it, because it's going to be gone so quick.
Yeah.
So to make that intentional time to spend the time with those little ones.
And I will tell you, I'm not perfect at that. And what you brought up is it's a great point, because I will tell you that I have to be so intentional with understanding how fast this time is going to go by, right? It is easy to get caught up in the moment. It's easy to get caught up in business. It's easy to get caught up in all these other dreams and visions and things that you want to accomplish. And you forget that these times that you have are really, truly precious, right?
Yeah.
We just had a vacation with the family. It's something we had been planning for a year. It was amazing. Kate did an awesome job of planning this thing out. And the fact that we kept it secret for an entire year was just a feat in itself. But as we went into that vacation, Kate and I sat back and we were able to have this conversation and say, you know what, we're going to remember this vacation for the rest of our lives. We're going to remember this moment. We're going to look back on this moment and just absolutely smile and probably cry a little bit about how young the kids were and how much fun we had and having their grandparents out there. So we were so intentional with understanding the moment that we were in. And most people, they don't understand that.
Yeah. So much of that gets lost in the busyness of life.
Exactly, right? And so this is great because this episode is going to come out before Christmas. You're going to have an opportunity to listen to this right now, and you can be very intentional with this season. You're going to have time with your family. You're going to have time with your loved ones. You're going to have time with people that you care about. Are you intentional about just enjoying that moment, creating those memories? Because those are the ones that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And regret is a horrible, horrible thing. So,
it is.
Take the most of it, or make the most of it, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah. So as you're looking at life and you're looking at 2020 or you're looking at 2021 or whatever year that is that you're listening to this, what are the things that you want to be intentional in your relationships? What are the events? What are the memories you want to create? I will sit down and I will actually map out some of the things like, hey, listen, I want to go on 2 vacations with Kate. We don't know where that's going to be, but we're going to go on 2 vacations. It's going to be 3 or 4 days or whatever. I want to be intentional with that because we all know that if you don't sit down and actually plan those out, they never happen. There's always an excuse. We're already, for her birthday, that was one of the things is Kate loves memories. Kate loves to have that intentional time just as I do too. So we don't need things, right? We're at this point in this life, like we'll buy it if we need it. Mm-hmm. And so I'd rather have time. I'd rather have memories that we create. And so the memories that we're going to do is we're going to go on a trip in February. Nice. Great time to get out of Casper, by the way.
True.
And so we're gonna create that. And I will tell you right now, we're already running into obstacles. We're running into flights, and we're running into hotels and issues, and we're running into everything that can destroy that. And I literally had a conversation with her yesterday and said, I don't care. Let's just book the trip. Because if we continue to do the what ifs and the but ifs and the, hey, listen, let's just wait, it's going to either get way too expensive when we're not going to make the decision, or we're going to wind up and it's going to be the end of January and we're not going to have that trip booked and it ain't going to happen.
Yeah, you got to make it happen.
Yes. And that's part of the intentionality of it, right? So I'm telling you, if you're listening to this, you have an obligation to be more intentional in your life, especially in the things that you find that are important. And relationships, I'm telling you, they're so important, you guys. We talk about goals, we talk about what people want to do and how successful they want to be next year. And I always sit down with them. I'm like, I love the fact that you have the financial goal. I love the fact that you want to be a rock star in business, but you will always have an opportunity to make money. You will always have the opportunity to be more successful in that business. You'll never have an opportunity to continue to be building those relationships. You'll never have this opportunity in their life, in your life right now, in this moment. So what do you want to do more intentional in those relationships?
Yeah, wow. That's pretty profound there, because it's, we do get so focused on, hey, my goals are make X dollars. My goals are generate X business. So yeah, and you don't get that time back. We're all allotted a certain amount, and that's all we get, and no more. And you can't buy more with time or with money. So. Yeah.
That's exactly right. All right, so I've got a couple questions that I want to pose to everybody. So when you're sitting there and you're planning this year out, when you're sitting there and you're talking about your dreams and envisioning what life's going to look like for you in the next year to come, a question that I'm posing to all of our leadership personally is 2 questions. And these 2 questions, the reason why I feel like they're so important is because, one, you're probably not asking the questions yourself, first of all. But secondly, when you are able to answer it, it means that you intentionally went there and you really started to think about your year more in depth, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing is it's really important to be able to share that with somebody. And, you and I were speaking about this, and I'm excited about you all, the internal leadership, being able to answer these questions and to be able to articulate them in our little group. Mm-hmm. Because here's what I know is that if you don't tell anybody else, how in the heck are they going to help you achieve them?
Yeah, That's just it. You cannot keep these goals or aspirations. You can't keep them to yourself, right? And here's what I found. The reason I think you can't, number one, is you've got to have like an accountability partner in this. You have to have somebody keeping you going. And again, we're talking about the relational part of this. My biggest accountability partner is Mandy, and we were talking. I know I talked to you. We were sharing some of our goals. I shared some of my goals with her. The conversation we were having yesterday,
right.
And I shared it with her. And so already she's like, "Okay, so how are you going to get there? Right?
Yeah.
How are you going to get to this goal?" And I'm like, "Well, listen, I'm not there yet. I've just got to figure out, first of all, set the goal, then make the roadmap. Let's figure it out." And she's already rapid fire giving me just ideas and, well, what if this? What if this? What if this? And I'm like, slow down, right? Yeah. Slow down. So yeah, if I didn't share it with her, then there's no way 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now, she's going to be asking me, "Hey, how's that going? Right? Are you even close?
Yeah.
Or have you even got off the couch?"
Yeah. Well, and it's so true. I think one of the things that's really intimidating to some people is if they haven't been setting goals for themselves, they don't even know where to start, right? Yes. Or they look at that goal and like, "Oh, it's just such a big goal. I don't even know what to do." And so I would just encourage you, start small. Start with a small goal that you know that you want to accomplish. I've got some really big goals in there, but sometimes as you look and as the year develops, you don't want to pursue them. I mean, I had a goal that I put on last year that as the year progressed, I realized very fast that this was not the time in my life that I needed to pursue it.
Yeah.
And so I put it on the back burner. Now I put it back on for this coming year, but I'm also going to evaluate it as life happens, right? But I'm always going to be conscious of it. It's always going to be there. And I'm going to be able to understand and realize, is it going to be a priority this year? And is it something that I truly need to hammer out and get done?
Yeah. So, and I'm going to further that point, and I'm going to say, you've got to look at these things that you're putting out there, these goals for yourself, and they've got to have a little bit of a why attached to them.
Definitely.
Right? Because so many people, it's like, my goal is I'm going to buy a Lamborghini, right? Got to have that Lambo. Why? Right? Why is it gonna? Is it gonna make you a better CEO? Is it gonna make you a better leader? Is it gonna make you better at your business? So, I mean, that's not the kind of goals we're talking about here. We're talking about goals that actually improve you as a person, a family member, a leader, improve you spiritually, whatever. So, I want to know, I got to have a why to every one of my goals.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, this is really that next level. I mean, a lot of people, you're right. They're going to get the personal stuff, right? Like, hey, listen, we want to buy a house, or we want to buy a car, we want to buy a boat. Awesome, that's great. Those are pretty easy, and then you can obviously find out what the plan is to get there. But you're right. We're going a little bit more in depth with this. So here's the two questions that I really encourage you to be asking yourself. One is that, what area are you going to grow in this year? Now, more specifically, I asked you because of the business that we're in. I asked you, what area in that business are you wanting to grow in more of? So as a leader, if you're talking to your staff, if you're talking to the people that you are leading in your company, this is a great question to be asking them, because now they have to identify an area that they want to grow in, not one that you've chosen them to grow in.
Yeah, and it's again, if it's our idea, if it's our plan, we're more likely to pursue that than if somebody else kind of bestows that on us.
Yep, that's exactly right. All right, so number 2 is that, what do you want to be exposed to this year? I absolutely love this question. When I was thinking about what I wanted to know about you guys, and honestly, I was thinking about, what do I want to share with you? Because that's something that I've never done in the past, is share with our staff, share with our leadership, share with anybody really outside of either Kate or one of my mentors, right? What I wanted to accomplish personally. On the business side of it, I definitely would share those things. But personally, I never did that. I never wanted to be vulnerable to expose those things to anybody else. And as I sat back and as I've learned to grow as a leader, it is so important for you to be sharing, what is on your heart, what is on your mind, what are the things that are driving you to accomplish these other things in your life. What's the ultimate purpose and why you want to do some of these things for that year, right? And so I'm excited to be able to share with our internal leadership the things that I want to accomplish personally. Because here's the thing that you're going to be able to get from this. There might be an opportunity that you are going to be the connector for me. And then when I know what you want to accomplish, there might be some opportunities where I'm going to be the connector for you. And when I know what you want to accomplish, I'm going to be looking for opportunities for you so that you can go and accomplish that.
How about it? And that all speaks to vulnerability. Right. And so I have learned as growing as a leader, I've learned that you have to have vulnerability to reach a certain level of humility. Right. So without vulnerability, there is no humility.
That's great.
And I've realized that because when I first came to be a part of this organization, I was like, all right, I've got to be the guy who has it all figured out. I got to be the guy who has my ducks in a row. I have to be the guy who's, all of these things, the do this example.
Right.
What I realized is the more vulnerability I showed with people around me, the more they embraced me and the more they wanted to be a part of that. Right. Yeah. So, that was something that I learned. Yeah. So, you don't have to be the quintessential leader. You don't have to be the quintessential CEO. You just have to be the guy that's out there trying to make yourself better and the people around you better. Yeah. But you have to show them when you slip up. You have to show them when you fail. Right. Or you have to show them your shortcomings.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've talked about those on previous episodes. That's exactly right, and how important that is. So, I want to wrap this up because I want to make sure that we are definitely aware of time here. I want to give a bonus question, and this one's really, this one's going to be a challenge, and it's going to take some time for you to think about this, but as you're thinking about these areas in your life that you want to accomplish some really great things in, right? Or that you want to grow in, here's a question that I think that you should really ponder. What's the one thing in that area that will change everything? What's the one thing that will change everything? And so when I say that, let's just say that you don't have a great relationship with one of your kids. Mm-hmm. What's the one thing you need to do that's going to change everything in that relationship? Let's say that in business, there's some things that are constantly holding you back from accomplishing that goal, those goals, the things that you've continued to just have that have held you back from accomplishing that great thing, right? What's the one thing that if you did it, if you changed it, if you committed to it, that will change everything? And I ask that, and it's a hard question because our mind automatically wants to go, well, it's not one thing, dude. It's like 100 things, it's 1,000 things. And you're right. There's a lot of things that are going along the way that you have to implement too. But what is the one thing that you can take and actually put in your life that's going to help you change everything?
That's a big question.
Deep question, man.
Huge question. So now I want to understand and make sure I understand this. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you've got somebody who maybe is fearful of a certain technology in their business, mm-hmm. right? And they just don't embrace that technology because it's new technology and it scares me. So if that one thing is, hey, if I just get comfortable with this technology and implement it in my business, can I take it to the next level?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the things that come into my front of my mind mm-hmm. is the one thing could be a morning routine.
Sure.
Yep. The one thing could be like, dude, I am not prepared for my day. What is the one thing I need to change in my life? I need to get a morning routine.
That's great.
Right?
That's great.
The other thing is like, listen, I don't have a healthy relationship with my spouse right now. Well, it's because I don't take 100% responsibility for everything that's going on. So maybe the one thing is you taking 100% responsibility for your marriage.
Yeah.
And you don't worry about what other people are doing.
Got it.
Right? So what is the one thing? And it could be a very big thing. It could be a very simple thing. Hey, the one thing you need to do is stop drinking.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's an easy thing.
No.
Because you haven't done it yet. So there's probably a reason why it's still the one thing. But what is the one thing that will change everything? You answer that question, you will have an amazing year. You'll have an amazing life.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I know you're trying to wrap up here. We've ran a little long, but I just want to mention this. When you're planning these goals and setting your goals for the next year, be flexible, right? As an example, did you know last year when you were doing your goals, did you know you were going to do the 75 hard?
None whatsoever.
But look how big a part of your life that 75 hard became. So be flexible. It's okay to change it up, right?
It is. And it's a great point. And I think we can talk, an entire episode on just that as well too, and how you adjust and how you flow with the year. As long as you're still continuing to stay disciplined and making sure that you are looking at those goals and adjusting. But you're absolutely right, you guys. This is meant to help you be successful. This is not meant to tear you down and to deter you from actually making those commitments. This is there to help you so that you can achieve the greatness that you want in your life.
You got it. Yeah, that's the point I wanted to make.
Yeah, awesome. All right, hey, love it, dude. Great episode. Loved it.
Yeah. Hey, we'll take all the feedback you guys can give us. So post some comments and we'll answer those on the air.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much as always for joining us. We look forward to always chatting with you guys. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week, and we'll see you on the next episode.